Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. I'm your host, Chet. And today we have an artist and a friend of mine, Brian Case, he's a member of the Dark Art Society. He's been on the podcast before, and he's had a hell year this year. And I was talking to him about it, and I thought, that might be a good idea for a topic on the podcast. Dealing with adversity, because as artists, it's part of the deal. Adversity comes with the territory, and I know a lot of people have had a pretty terrible year this year, so I thought it might be good to talk about it and talk about some strategies on how to deal with it, but also just talking about it seems to be helpful, I think, for people to know you're not alone and sharing your suffering with others. So I don't know. We had a good conversation. It's a little bit of a shorter episode, but definitely a powerful conversation. And always love having Ryan on. He's a great person, and I love his artwork too. So that's coming up. What else is going on? It's the end of the year. This is the last episode of the year, and yeah, I just got through the holidays. I got all my stuff shipped. Celebrated Christmas yesterday, with family, and it was great. And now I'm supposed to be taking 2 weeks off, and we'll see if that happens. I didn't get all of my commissions done this year like I was supposed to, but I got some of them done. So my break time, I might be working on some commissions, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm dying to get back to painting. I haven't painted in a while. Not really. Not like a real big painting. So yeah, I'm just still trying to keep things low key and chill for the next week or two. And, that's it. If you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/darkartsociety, and you can join for as little as $1. You get your name read on the air. No new subscribers this week, but if there were, I would be naming them. If you join at the $5 or above level, you get a 20% coupon code for Skull Shop, SKULLSHOPPE. They are our sponsor. Here's one of their skulls. It's great. Their skulls are amazing. And if you want to support me, you can go to patreon.com/ChetZar and join for as little as $1 also. Hopefully this next year I'll be cleaning up the Patreons, and they have these new features now with you can make collections of different topics of posts, make things easier to find, and there's some chat features, and so hopefully that's gonna I'll have time to deal with that stuff. Is there anything else? For this year I'm gonna have a list. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make a list of everything I need to say in the intro, and I'm gonna tape it to my monitor right here so that I never have to go, am I forgetting anything? Because that happens every episode, and it's really pretty dumb. Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get on with it. Here's my interview with Ryan Case, and we're discussing facing adversity. Here you go, and I hope you like it, and hope you have a good New Year. And safe New Year's Eve and all that. All right. Here you go. Enjoy it. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, Chet.
I'm sorry you're sick.
That's okay. It's all your fault.
It's your last ass kicking of the year.
It is. I blame Walmart because I had to go to pick up a frame last minute the night before Christmas Eve.
Ah,
And then I woke up Christmas Eve with a fever. So it's all Walmart's fault.
it's Art's fault because you were getting
Yeah.
a frame. Yeah, I know a lot of people are sick right now. I know a ton of people who've had this flu, and it sucks. But yeah, I don't know. Just to give people a little heads up how this episode came about. I heard you, or I saw you talking on Facebook about, I don't know what social media, maybe Facebook or Dark Art Society group, just about how you've just been suffering this series of horrible events and I just was, what I was thinking, how you're just kind of like hanging in there and you're just like, you're not going to let it break you down. Yeah. And I related to it because I've been through so many of these situations for pretty long, like years, sometimes periods where it's just like one thing after another is just beating you down. And, I think it's especially, I don't know, for artists, it's especially prescient. It's like it's intrinsic to the art life because the art life is so difficult. It's like even without the extra normal life stuff, you're facing this kind of thing all the time.
It's like we voluntarily go through this.
It's the price you pay for living this kind of life, I guess, So I don't know. I just thought it might be good to talk about adversity and particularly in the artist's life, but really, it's something that everybody goes through. I think that's why dark art is one of the value of it is it's kind of talks about these things, and lets people feel like they're not so alone.
Yeah. And that's the main thing. Because so many people, no matter the level of art that they're on, whether they have gallery representation or whether they're just now setting up at little art fairs in their local community, like we're all going through the same shit.
Yep.
Like, if you're trying to be an artist and live off your art as income or, even as half your income, it's going to be a fucking struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And this year really pushed me a lot. I kind of fell through a little bit of a depression phase and let a lot of things go past that I probably should have taken care of them. And then when I finally snapped up out of it, I realized that, oh, fuck, I'm fucking screwed.
Wow.
If I don't get to.
Really?
Yeah. And, it took a lot of grinding and a lot of working and, and I'm still not out of everything completely, but I don't feel as heavy of a weight on my shoulders as I once did.
Yeah. That's the worst part is that pressure.
Once you get that little glimmer of hope, you're like, okay, I got this little glimmer of hope. I can hang on to it. Here's something else that makes that glimmer of hope bigger. And you keep just trying to build it until you feel that confidence back up where you're like, fuck yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
No, go ahead.
I was like, I get a lot of shit from my online posts because they're super fucking positive and people don't want to fucking hear that. And, I don't put that shit out there for anyone else but for me to keep reading. Mm-hmm. And if somebody connects to it, that's fucking awesome.
Right.
But it's like, I don't look into the future and try and envision what things are going to be like in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. I'm just trying to make it through each day. Mm-hmm. I can make it through today. I can make it through tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just keep going that way. Because I feel like if you try to envision too much of your future, it just puts so much stress that you feel overwhelmed and nothing else matters.
Right. Yeah, and you got to be willing to surf life.
Yeah.
whatever waves come, you need to kind of like go with it, navigate the current, navigate
Yeah.
the energies that are around. Because it's, it's things are always going to throw you for a loop. It's like things never go the way you're going to, you think they're going to, or almost never. And so you have to be willing. You can't be too tied to how you're going to get there. I think it's,
Yeah.
and this is a magical visualization thing as well. It's like, you keep the overall desire of what you want, which is whatever, being able to make a living with your artwork. You keep that in your mind and for what you want in the future, and then let it work itself out the way it wants to work itself out. And then you have to be willing to work with what is brought to you energetically, situationally. You know what I mean? You have to be able to kind of like surf it, change at any moment, and kind of like go with the flow, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have to be able to adapt and adjust with
Yeah.
everything. And this past summer, I had 2 solo shows that I was super pumped about, and I worked my ass off, and not one piece sold at either one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm used to that. I do most of my sales online. I've never really had much gallery luck, but it really dampened my spirits quite a bit more than I thought it should.
Oh yeah, it does. And it does though. I think that's not uncommon when you have a show and nothing sells. But two is a double whammy. That's like that'll make it even worse.
I was like, well, this one didn't do well, but the next one's going to. But yeah, like I had all this shit focused on these shows, and I'm like, okay, these shows, if I sell, this many pieces out of this many shows, all of my bills are covered. And then when I got up there and there was nothing, I was like, well, fuck, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, yeah.
So I did start driving for Lyft part-time, just to take some of that financial strain off my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really helped me out mentally and psychologically.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I had a show at Last Rites Gallery in, I think, 2010 or 2008. I don't know. It was at a point where I was selling work. I was getting gallery shows, and I would sell maybe half of a show out.
Yeah.
By the end of the show, maybe less. Maybe more or less. And I had this Last Right show. Let me try it. It was called Endarkenment, I think. And let's see. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. And because I don't know if I'm getting them mixed up, because I've shown there twice. I think I've had 2 solo shows there. Anyway, this show, it was the last time I showed there, and I was my big show for the year. I paid to travel out there and bring my a friend with me, paid for him, and just all the shipping to New York, and and I made the frames, and they were heavy, and they were solid like resin, and they're really cool frames, and I think they're all 11 by 14 paintings, and only one painting sold.
Yeah.
And I'd spent so much money just while I was out there staying in New York. And it was just a total disaster. It was one of those things where I got in debt, way more in debt than I was before I left. And I just was like, okay, I'm going back to being in a worse, not just not making money, but like owing money, It's almost like, worse than not making money. And and it was this during this trip that it was had this big huge blowout with my friend for 30 years that kind of ended our friendship, and it was just so bad. The whole trip was so horrible.
Yeah.
And it was during Mercury retrograde, because that's the first time I was like, because I used to think, oh, Mercury retrograde, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And at
Yeah.
that trip, that happened, and I got back and I found out it was Mercury retrograde. I was like, there might be something to this, because it was so bad. It was so bad, and and I just kind of like, I don't remember what I did when I got back, but just that breakup with my friend was like a huge. We'd been best friends for 30 years since I was a little kid, and it was like a divorce, going through a divorce, and it was 6 months probably before I was not thinking about that every day and so upset, and it was just feeling horrible about it. But I got through it, and it passed, and things got good again. And it's just like, I've been through so many of these periods in my life where it just seems like shit is raining down on you from everywhere. And it's like one thing happens, and then another thing happens, and then another thing. And you're just like, what what is going on here? This is ridiculous. And, being the age I am, you realize it's like, oh, this happens in life over and over. This is just like part of life.
Yeah.
And the key is to not let it drag you down, and you have to persevere. Sometimes it's like, it's only about just getting through it.
Yeah.
And just waiting until it's over, and just persevering. And that's it. And that's all you really need to do, is survive it. Because I've known people that their whole lives, this is happening to them. And it's like, you can see it, it's like they've been screwed over legitimately. They've legitimately been a victim, and it wasn't their fault. They didn't deserve it, but it's happened enough to where they're constantly have that attitude.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can just see them making these decisions, these bad decisions over and over, that make that happen. And it becomes this cycle. I don't know if you've ever known anybody like this, but I've known it. There's one person I'm thinking of. It's like, you got screwed, but you screwed yourself every other time after that. It's like, you had two ways to go, and you always picked the one that was like, you shouldn't have. And it's almost like this weird repeating cycle you get in if you can't hold on to that, like you're saying, that bit of hope, or the idea that you're going to come out of it, things are going to get better, and then you almost like make it happen at some point if you don't. You know what I'm saying?
I'm totally guilty of that too. And like, you feel that almost a guilt of these things that have happened to you, that you start to self-sabotage relationships and friendships. And, before you know it, you're making excuses for why these friendships and whatever dissolved or whatever. And it's really yourself doing this to yourself, because you feel like it's going to happen anyway. I might as well take care of it now.
Right. And even, I know that you're you practice magic or spirituality, or whatever you want to call it, whatever people are calling it these days. But really, it's like, what your mind is focused on will eventually manifest in your life, or
Exactly.
you can choose that reality however you want to. Like Mitch Horowitz doesn't like the term manifest. He likes the term, he likes the idea that you're choosing a reality that's already in existence, like on a quantum level or something. You know what I mean? But anyway,
and it sucks because, like, we know these universal laws. We know that they work because we put them into practice and seen that they work.
Yeah.
But we have a bad couple weeks, and when it's like we forget everything that we know is true.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, yeah, exactly. It's so funny. What was I saying about man? It's the same thing goes for manifesting negativity in your life as well. It's like, if you're just constantly thinking about it and dwelling on it, it's like Well, that's what's going to manifest in your life. Is that the same thing? You know, it's the very basic principle. And even if you don't believe in magic or any of this stuff, you know, even from a psychological standpoint, you can probably agree that if you're constantly dwelling on negativity, that you're going to probably see things negatively and kind of attract negativity into your life. You know what I
mean? Absolutely. And another thing, like, people see my Facebook post or Instagram post, and they're like, well, he just ignores all the negative parts of life. And it's not about ignoring it at all. Like, if you have something bad happen to you, or if you're in a tight spot, and, you know, if you're just in a bad place, you need to sit with it and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, acknowledge that it's real, but don't dwell on it, because that's what's going to come back to you when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what you focus your attention on.
Yeah.
Is the bottom line. It's what you focus your attention on. And that doesn't mean focusing your attention on something doesn't mean that you're ignoring the negative thing, you know? And you see this so much on social media with, especially in politics and stuff, even people that I would agree with on my side of the aisle, you could say, you see that they are just constantly focusing on this, all the horrible stuff that's happening. And it's like, yeah, you should, that part of stopping it is putting it in public, bringing it to the public attention. But it's like, if you're not actively trying to counter that with some kind of action, then you're just focusing constantly on negative shit. And you're kind of like bringing more negativity into the situation. You know, it's like, it's good. It's good to acknowledge. It's good to make people aware, but you also have to kind of balance that with some kind of hope and some kind of, you know, ideas of how to change it, things like that. But yeah, it's just like, you know, you can get caught in an endless loop.
Yeah.
A negativity loop, you know?
That's one thing I really, that stuck with me about the 30-Day Mental Challenge by Mitch Horowitz.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when you think about your past relationships, don't dwell on the negativity that happened in them. Think about the positive things, so that you're not dragging this negativity around with you all the time.
Absolutely.
That's so important.
Yeah. And it's hard to get to that point. Sometimes that point takes a long time to get to that point. For, you know, I'm just going from my experience. It's like, I felt anger towards people for years. Like, I don't know, maybe even a decade.
Yeah.
And I'd gotten to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm happy now where I'm at. Yeah. And there is, regardless of how I was maybe taken advantage of, or I didn't agree with things they did to me or whatever, it got me to where I am now, or I got to where I am now. And so if maybe that played a part of it somehow. And, but it's hard to do when you're angry, you know, when you're emotional about it.
Yeah. Anger is such an easy emotion to fall into and to get lost in.
Yeah.
Because it gives our brain the same chemical feelings as almost love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you still, excuse me, you still get that rush.
Yeah.
And I spent so many fucking years of my life just pissed off for no reason.
Yeah.
And I was a miserable person.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like one day I was like, well, I'm not going to be miserable anymore. It was like, I don't want to be miserable anymore. So I'm going to take the steps that I need to take so that I don't feel this way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got situations now in my life with people that it's like, it's hard not to just dwell on. If you've been screwed over, if you feel that you've been screwed over, it's like it's hard not not to just sit there at night in bed going like, oh, what an asshole.
Son of a
What an
bitch.
asshole. I can't believe they did that to me. I just can't believe this person I trusted would do this to me. And it's like, it's awful. It's awful. And you know, especially when it's somebody you trust. It's just
Yeah.
it's such a terrible feeling because then you feel like, you know, was it my fault? Especially if someone does something really unjust to you and you really are the victim in the situation. It's like it's really you start to second guess everything about
Yeah.
yourself. Like why because I've had this happen to me one, two, three, four, at 5 times maybe in my life where I had people that I trusted and I was really close to that ended up totally turning on me.
Yeah.
And you know, and I, of course, as in with any relationship, I'm sure I did things that were not cool to them because, you know, people are assholes and I could be an asshole sometimes. But
Right.
but there's, you know, there's that and then there's like really betraying someone, which
Yeah.
is, and it's like it's happened to me. It's happened to me a lot of times and you start going like there's that funny you know those anti-inspirational posters that were big in the
Yeah.
90s. I think one of them was like it shows a like a link of chains and it says just remember the only common thread in all of your failed relationships is you. Which is great. Hilarious.
It's true. It's fucking true.
It's
That's
true.
great.
But the thing that like I guess what I'm saying is when that happens to you enough times, you start to go, okay, what am I doing? Why am I choosing these people? And there may be some truth to the fact that you are attracting people that are not trustworthy. But then again, it's like people are so fucked up that it could just be that, you know, people are fucked up and they screw you over sometimes. And that's just the way it is. And you can't avoid it. You know, what are you going to, the alternative is never have a relationship with somebody and just be alone. It's like that's as bad ultimately as just as not having any as having someone screw you over, you know.
Right.
So
And what's worse is the feeling it's like how could this person do this to me? And then on the opposite side of that, you feel like how did I let this happen to myself?
right, yeah, and the thing is it's like, and that's something to consider for sure, but it's also like sometimes it's just that you were victimized.
Yeah.
Someone was an asshole and you didn't really have you had the best intentions and you were trying to do right by them and they just fucked you over because sometimes
Yeah.
people do that and it's just like,
And even with your own best intentions, someone can feel like you fucked them over.
yeah, right.
No intention of doing that whatsoever.
Yep,
And
totally.
both sides are valid because I mean it's no two people see this world in the exact same way. No two people
It's
feel the
true.
exact same way. You could be in the exact same circumstance and get two different outcomes.
Yeah,
And I have to just, I don't know, just move on.
yeah, it's not easy. It's not
No,
easy. It's not
uh,
easy. But you know the bottom line with all this stuff is it never lasts. The bad
right.
times never last, and the good times never last. That's the thing.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like there was some David Lynch quote about whenever it was something like whenever something good's happening, there's something bad's bubbling up in the
Yeah.
background that's going to happen, and whenever something bad's happening, something good is bubbling up in the background, and you know, and it's like we all want the good times to just be constant. And it's like, cause I don't know, I'm sure you feel, I'm sure everybody feels this way that it's like, if I only get to here, it's
Yeah.
going to be all good for the rest of my life. And it's like,
Get one page to go viral, I'll make it.
or whatever. I get this much money, or I get this in the, I get out of debt, I get whatever. And it's like, that is not the way as much as I intellectually know this, it's like I'm still like that too. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way. It's like it's always gonna be periods of good stuff that we
Yeah.
interpret as good and stuff that we interpret as bad, and it's just kind of like it seems to me to follow this like pattern of energy. That's how it feels to me, because it's like sometimes you can do no wrong and everything's just like going so good, and it's just
Yeah.
everything's coming to you easily, and then other times, no matter what you do, everything you do is just like nope, smacking you
Yeah.
down. Nope, nope, nope.
And there's those times when you're feeling pretty good about everything, and the universe comes along and it's like, let's just pull this rug right out from underneath them and still dance.
Yeah,
Well, you're looking cocky right now. We need to
yeah,
put you in
right.
check.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna smack you down just to
Yeah.
put things, keep things in
And
order.
that's what so many people don't realize is that, when the good times are happening, hold them close and cherish them, because when they're not happening, you're going to need those memories to get you through.
Right, yeah. True, yeah. And yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's difficult. It's difficult. It's hard. It's like because all the stuff that we're saying is like, yeah, it's easy to say that,
Yeah.
but you're in the middle of it.
Oh,
It's
man.
like it's so hard to I don't know, to have that feeling, because you're just like, oh man, everything's going to hell. It's just like you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going, because especially around the holidays, it's like
Yeah.
people get desperate and do horrible things. I mean, we all know Jed
Yeah.
Likeness is the
Amazing artist.
amazing artist, took his own life around Christmas. I don't know how many years ago it was. I mean, and he was like one of the best dark art
Yeah.
painters in the whole scene. And it's like, he just apparently it's like, I mean, that's the extreme end of if you don't stick it out and just try and make it through. But, I also realize people do have clinical depression and things like that, which are like,
Yeah. You need
all,
medication. Please get on medication.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
No mantra is going to fix that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. It sounded like from what you were telling me, you've had like you had a series of bad things happen to you.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year,
It's been
man.
a bad year, right?
Yeah, bad year. Relationship with my ex ended a couple of years ago, which was whatever, is kind of a mutual thing. We both weren't happy with each other.
Mm,
Um, things were going pretty good. I started to date someone else, and my kids weren't happy with it, so I kind of got a falling out a little bit with my children.
oh wow.
And for me, like I love being a dad. That's
Mm,
my favorite world. And one second.
uh,
And for them to be upset with me about that, it really took its toll.
yeah,
And it it kind of made it really hard for me to find joy in anything. Like,
right, yeah,
really good things happened. Like, I'd gotten through my little financial slump, and sales were coming back in, and I was feeling pretty good about that. But it was almost just like it was just hollow.
yeah.
So, so I've been spending as much time as I can trying to get back with them, and oh man,
Yeah,
it's rough.
that's the thing about uh You know, you know me from the podcast. Everybody who
Yeah.
listens knows me. I'm always I'm always complaining about money. I'm always trying to get to this certain place where I have financial freedom. I don't have to kill myself practically to work so hard. And I have to really make a point to realize that I'm already super wealthy in everything except money.
Right.
Like what wealth really is. Like
Yeah.
having your health, having family, having people around you that care about you. It's like this is the real wealth that even, Elon Musk and these people that have billions of dollars don't have this. They don't have this. And like you said, you get a sale and things aren't right with your family, it's like it's meaningless. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just like becomes, oh, okay, I can pay my bills, and and when your family situation is not right, it's like suddenly the bills don't matter as much. It's not such a, or debt doesn't matter as much, and it's like it's so important to keep these things. It sounds like a cliche, but it really is so important to keep these priorities straight,
Oh yeah.
as to what is
What's really?
yeah, what's
Yeah.
important, what's real wealth, really, But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I've been through have issues with my kids. Believe me,
Yeah.
it's the worst. It's the worst.
Yeah. My kids live with their mom now, and I see my son every now and then. My daughter still won't talk to me, but I reach out to her every single day.
That's
So
good.
doing everything I can.
You got to. You got
Yeah.
to. There's a point when she will come around, and the fact that you kept trying to contact her will she'll realize it's like, oh, I was wrong about this, and it's just what you got to do. It's like,
And I let it really dig in deep, and yeah, that's when I spiraled. And I didn't care about anything.
oh, really?
Uh, I even started dating someone new, and I'm just so emotionally closed off because of it all
Hmm.
that pretty much self sabotaged that relationship.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
nice non depressing episode.
Hey. Well, I mean, this is this is the kind of shit that people are going through.
I know, man.
You're not alone. You're not alone in this. It's like a lot of people go through this, and the people talk about on podcasts are, I don't know, especially the popular ones are not really talking about this sort of thing. It's, I don't know. It's important. I think it's important that people know, to hear people hear other people with stories that are similar to their own.
Yeah. One story I remember was during the David Stepakis episode, the last one he did.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying, he's like, yeah, I got rent coming up. How many 5x7s do I need to paint to sell to cover that rent?
Yeah.
And there I was sitting there at my desk doing little pieces to sell to make my own rent. I'm like, oh, damn it, we are the same.
Oh yeah, I know. That's a thing. And then I always bring the Brahm episode up because I was so blown away to hear Brahm saying,
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel relevant anymore or if people care about my work. And it's like these are the questions that we all have as artists, no matter what level you're at.
Yeah.
It was what I'm doing. Does it matter? Do people care? And it's like, if it feels like that way at the Brahm level, it feels that way at every level. And so in that way, we're like this family in a way, or we're related in that way, that
Yeah.
because art is so personal. It's not like, I don't know. It's a different kind of job because so much of what you put into it is personal. It's like an expression of yourself. Whereas other jobs may be more important than art, but you're not necessarily putting an expression of yourself into your job. You know what I mean? Maybe you are if you're doing a good job of it, but you know what I'm saying? It's like part of what makes art valuable is people putting a piece of themselves in it. And when you don't, and that's a scary thing to not know if, you're worth giving a shit about, you know what I mean?
Right.
Your expression matters to anybody except you. And it's like, you have to sort of do it anyway. I don't know. It's not for, if artists get this rap that they're like soft and lazy and weak and flaky, and it's like, man, you gotta be tough as nails to do this.
Yeah, you don't understand.
Yeah, this is a really stupid way to make a living. In a lot of ways, it's like you gotta really want it to make it happen, because who wouldn't? It's like, that's kind of one thing that the whole NFT explosion showed, is that because it was easy to sell work and easy to make money during this period, because it was play money, and I think part of it was people were making money from it, but part of it was like, if the crypto that you're buying your artwork went up, I don't know, 50%, all of a sudden you have all this extra money that's not even like real money. It's easy to spend it. I know that's how it was for me when I would sell stuff, or my ETH would go up. It was easy to spend, I don't know, a couple $100 on an NFT if some artist, some piece that you thought was cool and you wanted to support them. But it's like, I would never spend $200 just randomly that easily on something physical, because it's like, it doesn't feel like real money. But
Yeah.
so I think that's part of why that was working that way. But the thing is, you see why that the fact that people were able to sell stuff easily, anybody could just make anything and say it's a piece of art and sell it. And you see, and it was like, so there was just a huge percentage of people that weren't artists. They're like traders. They're like crypto traders. Like, I'm an artist now. I'm gonna do this thing on my iPad and sell it. And my point is that you could see how all these people, when they had the opportunity, wanted to be artists, because it was a lot easier to be an artist. And it's because it's like, if it was easy, who would want to be an artist? Just make stuff and make money from whatever you want to make. It sounds great, but in the real world, outside of the NFT market, when it was at its top, the real world is like, you have to want it so bad that you're willing to suffer in so many different ways, because it's so hard to sell art in the real world, because it's a luxury item and whatever, a million reasons.
Like, here, please pay hundreds of dollars for this thing you don't need.
Yeah, exactly. Just, exactly. And so you see how many people would love to be artists, but when in the NFT world, when it was kind of easy to be an artist to make a living, but that's not the way it really is. So I don't know what my point was, that we're crazy. That you have to really want it.
Yeah.
That you're going to suffer for it. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about, this, adversity as artists, is that you're going to have to suffer. You're going to have to suffer. When I came in, I was like, when I started, I was so like, because I was so unhappy at my job.
Yeah.
And I felt trapped, and I didn't know how to do anything else. And I felt like I was at the top of my game, like at top of as far as I could go, really, in that job. And I was like, man, I'm going to be stuck here the rest of my life. I see older people in the business that are just totally miserable. And I'm like, oh man, scared me. Yeah. I was like, it dawned on me one day, and it was like, really put kind of like a panic in me. And, so I was just like, I gotta get out. So I'm going to do this fine art thing. And without thinking about, how much difficulty there was going to be, not even really considering it. I still, like, I look back and I wonder if I knew now, if I still would have done the same thing. I probably would have, but at least I would have known what I was getting into. Cause
Right.
it's, I do well as an artist for artists. I do better than most, but it's still like, it's still hard, and it's still, feast or famine, and I'll make a lot of money one month and then I won't make any money the next month. And it's like, I'm not organized or really that good at managing money. So it's just like, it's just ridiculous. It's insane.
It's a month-to-month battle, man.
Yeah.
Uh, Man, and as hard as it is, like I really don't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah. Especially when you've gotten a taste of it,
Yeah,
when you do it for a little while and you're able to do it, you're just like, I can't go back.
yeah,
I can't go back. Like, I'll never go back. I know I'll never go back. But you'll do things like get a job at Lyft. I might,
yeah,
if I have to, I'll try and get some movie work if I had to, whatever. But
yeah. You'll find little ways to bring in income when shit's slow, and just so you can keep making the art that you want to make.
yeah, it's just, it's
Oh
that
god,
satisfying.
yeah.
It's that
One thing I
satisfying when it works.
over the years that it's like if I make something for the sole purpose of selling it, like if I've got an electric bill coming out with this $300 or whatever, make something that I don't have my heart into, that I just want to sell this to pay the electric bill. Nothing happens.
I know.
And then sometimes I'll sit down and just be doodling and come up with the stupidest idea of whatever. And I'll just take a photo of it, put it online, and somebody's like, well, I want that. And I'm like, it's almost like your emotions and your love for the painting goes into it, and it attracts potential buyers.
Yeah.
That's another thing about the solo art shows that didn't sell anything. Later on in the year, I did get emails from people who saw the shows and inquired on pieces that were hanging if they were still available. They just couldn't purchase them at the time. So it's almost like when I do conventions, like I did horror conventions for a long time, and I never did very well at them. But usually about 2 weeks later, I'd get an email and be like, hey, I saw you at this convention. Can you do something like this? And it's like, you're always playing the long game.
Yep.
It's like
always, yeah.
Trying to plant seeds every now and then, so something will grow eventually.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's always about the long game, and people don't want to hear that. It's and when we're talking the long game, it's not like 2 years away. We're talking 10 years down the road. Like, I'm thinking, I got to start thinking into my 60s now, because I'm like, I'm over halfway through my 50s now. So it's like, and it took 20 years to get to this point. It's like, that's a long fucking time. That's like you have to dedicate your life to this thing if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do it in a way where it's a side hustle. That's cool, but you got to realize if you're going to really go all in, it's like, it's a lifestyle. You give up a lot. You have to give up a lot for it. A lot.
Yeah. What is this free time people speak of?
Yeah, forget about it. But that's the thing for me. It's like any free time I ever really wanted was to make art. So that's the cool thing. You don't have free time, but you're constantly doing stuff that you would be doing on your free time otherwise, except you have to do a bunch of bullshit along with it, like administrative stuff.
I kind of miss the MySpace days, because those were wild times.
Yeah. I know.
First started trying to sell art online, like, it was nuts.
Yeah, it was way better. It was way better. MySpace was great. I don't know why they don't bring it back and make it like that. Everybody says this about MySpace. Everybody liked it.
Yeah, it was fucking rad.
Everybody liked it. They could changed their top 5. Everybody liked it. They could put a song on their page and change the background of their page.
Music.
What's that?
You could force people to listen to music
Yeah.
without.
It's weird that someone isn't like kind of bringing it back when it's what people want, but I don't know. Social media landscape is horrible. It's a nightmare. It's terrible.
It is. And like it's almost like every week there's a new app that people are like, if you're an artist, you got to get on this app.
Yeah.
And you get on there. And it's just a bunch of artists being like, I want to follow artists.
Yeah, yeah, and it never goes anywhere. It's just...
But there needs to be an app for just buyers.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like no one's cracked that yet. But yeah, there's no easy answer. There's no answer. Other than to persevere.
Yeah.
You know, get through it. Keep going. Don't stop. It's
if you believe in yourself, keep going.
Yeah, there's no other way. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got one more last big bump for this year, and let me see if I can get my camera around here. Can you see him back there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's Fridge. He's not doing too good.
How's he?
So,
how is he? How old is he?
He's about 15.
Oh, that's old.
He's having a hard time getting around, and his appetite's really dropped.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so hard.
Yeah, he's my best bud.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. It's so hard. I've just.
Sucks.
Yeah, I've lost, two of my dogs in the last few years, and it's so hard.
Yeah, it never gets easier. He's the last in my pack of 4.
Really? Whoa. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 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 That's the, that's the price you pay for the love of a dog and having that companionship and that friendship with your pet. It's like you pay at the end in full, and it's painful, terrible, but he'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
It's like animals when they go, it's like, I don't know, they don't resist it.
No.
And they just go with it.
I've got a local vet coming on Thursday to help him transition.
Oh, good. So you're having someone come to you. Yeah.
Yeah, she actually helped with my other dog, Pearl, who had really bad nasal tumors. And it's Dr. Bennett from Louisville, Kentucky. And sweetest lady ever.
Oh, great.
Very good doctor. And she'll be down here on Thursday.
Good. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way. Ever since I think it was Doc was our first dog that we had a vet come. Because it's expensive. I don't know if it is for you, but it's really expensive. But I don't give a shit how much it costs now. If I have to put one of my dogs down, I'll always do it because it was so much better than going to the vet. And it's it's like
no stress on them.
It's so much better to be able to like be there while they're passing and yeah, wow. Well, yeah, it's your if I were you, I would look at this as the last shitty thing that's going to happen to me for a long time.
I know.
Look at it as okay.
It's for this year.
Yeah. I know every year I start out like this year is going to be great. I'm sure I said that last year or at the beginning of this year. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes it's not, but I'm still going to have that attitude that it could be, and because it's like 2024 is going to be fucking crazy, man, with the election and everything.
It's going to be nuts.
And Trump and all these trials and everything, and people are just getting more and more pissed. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, the whole it's got everybody worked up into a big turmoil.
Yep.
And I don't even know.
I don't. Yeah, it's just like what all you can do is kind of like keep your head down, don't get
Yeah,
caught in the crossfire, stay the course, get through it, ride it out, regardless of what happens. You know, it's just like you got to, like you said, you have to hold that piece of hope. You know, you have to know that as because if you look, you know, for a long time things have been so bad. It seems like politically,
yeah,
probably since 2016, maybe they've been ugly and getting uglier. Even that will not last. It
right.
won't last. It's going to change. You know, it's just it's who knows when, but it's going to flip at some point because that's
Yeah,
what it does. That's it goes back and it goes forth. It's a pendulum,
yeah,
swings back and forth. When things suck, you just have to know. It's like when things suck, you have to know they're going to get better at some point, and so you hang on. And then when things are good, you have to remember they're going to get bad again. So you appreciate, like you're saying, appreciate the good things when you have them, because you know they can't last either.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. One of my favorite quotes is "Adversity is the first path to truth" by
Yeah,
Lord Byron.
that's a good
And
one.
it's such a good one because you're like, all right, I'm up against these hard times. What can I do to get through them? Like, do I have a plan? Is there something else I can do? Like, it really gets your brain working
Mm-hmm.
on how to get back to those good times. And one of the worst parts is, though, when you get back to the good times, you're like, everything's great.
And you think it's gonna last forever that way. Oh,
You gotta
finally,
remember,
finally,
it's
this is
not
it. I made it. It's never gonna change. It's gonna be great forever.
gonna
Every time I've gotten to that point in my life, I've said that every fucking time. Even if like not consciously, I felt like and it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be easier from now on. And never, it always ends up to me at a point where like, how did I get back to this again? What did I do? I thought I made it already. I thought that was it. But
I gotta make it all over again.
you know, and it is a cliche. It's like that difficult times show, you know, kind of show you what character a person has. It
Yeah,
really does. You know, I can look back at all these horrible situations I've been in throughout my life, and I can definitely say they were character building. It sounds super cliche and super lame to say, but really they're like, this is, you know, maybe the most important part of life in a way, really, as far
yeah,
as developing you as a person, because you either, you know, you can react one in two ways. You could be like turn in, well, not one of two ways, but you can kind of, it can turn you into a total asshole at hating everybody, or like
right.
a total depressive and cut yourself off from everybody, or it can, you know, you can get through it and then you're more confident the next time something bad happens. I got through that thing, so I can get through this next thing because I've done it before, and it's like it builds every time. You get more confidence that you can get through it, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's like another piece of the armor that you get.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping that you remember this.
I made a note on the notepad now.
Because I know you're in the middle of it, or you're
Oh yeah,
hopefully ending and hopefully the tail end of it. So
yeah.
you need to hang in and get through it,
Oh,
because
yeah,
it will get
I'm too
better.
anything else.
You're too stubborn.
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out so much, man.
Oh
I do.
yeah, no, I don't know. I thought it was a good way to maybe end the year, because I just I know for the podcast too, and I don't know. Thought it might be helpful for you as well,
Yeah, very.
but for everybody listening, because I hear, you know, online you hear things all the time. People going through health issues
Yeah,
and divorces and losing their pets. It's just like constantly. Somebody's going through something,
Yeah.
and sometimes it seems like they cluster, like a lot. They happen to a lot of people. It's like I was saying, it kind of feels like an energy thing.
Yeah.
It's like even with the Mercury retrograde thing. One thing I've noticed about that is it seems like, and of course this is just some dummy artist talking shit, but it feels to me like these things like hit certain people around the same time period. Like sometimes I'll have there's these Mercury retrograde periods because it's like it's half jokingly, I'm not like a super Mercury retrograde guy, but when it's Mercury retrograde, I look around to see how things are going for other people and how they're going for me, because I know when things are kind of like everything's going wrong in my life. And it's like sometimes you're in that group of people that's getting hit with this weird energy period. And then sometimes you're not and things are fine, but you're watching all of your friends going through shit. Have you ever seen that? Where it's like, so it's almost like sometimes you get hit with it, sometimes you don't, but like groups of people that are getting hit with this thing.
Yeah. It's super easy to fall into the what's it called? Comparing your life to others through social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, these people get to go to on a vacation, and they just posted pictures of their vacation.
Yep.
Like, but you didn't see the 6 months that the parents were working their ass off to afford that vacation. And it's like Instagram and Facebook, they're nothing but highlight reels.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
these are good parts of my life that I want to share with you. Like, it's not actual life. It's just something they're happy about. And it's so easy to fall into that place where you're like, well, why am I not doing these things?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think even if you know that, you still somewhere, no matter how well you know that, some part of your mind compares yourself to them. I mean, I do it, and I know it's bullshit, and I still like automatically kind of do it, and you have to like go, okay, come on, that's bullshit. But you just, it's like, that's why social media is so successful, I think, is because it plays on this primal part of us or something,
It definitely conditioned us in that certain way.
Yeah, it takes advantage of it. That's why it's evil. It's evil. But a necessary evil, because it's how we get our workout to people.
Excuse me.
So do you have plans for the new year?
Yeah, January the 13th, I've got an artist, what's it called? Meet and greet at the Jefferson Township Library, where I hung my work at the beginning of December. And they have this thing called the Big Read Program.
Mm-hmm.
This year's author is Edgar Allan Poe, so they asked to display some of my Poe prints.
Oh, great.
And they gave me full reign of the gallery space and let me hang up all the weird monsters I could. And
killer.
It's such an amazing little space. It's over in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And that's pretty much the only thing on my calendar for the year so far.
That's cool. Where are you located again?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville. What's Louisville like for you as an artist? Is it like, is there, I mean, is there an audience for you there, or are you more like reaching out all over the country to sell your work?
No, it's a really cool city for artists. It's kind of it's very progressive, unlike most of all of the rest of Kentucky.
Is it a college town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the University of Louisville's here. And there's lots of art fairs going on, tons of gallery spaces and little quirky shops that show my work and other people's work. It's really cool, but just like with any other art scene, there's cliques and the negative side to it. But for the most part, it's been a great move here. I moved here about I want to say 11 or 12 years ago.
Okay. Where'd you move from?
Maysville, Kentucky, my hometown.
Oh, okay. So do you have like a physical group of people in that scene that you know and hang out with, or is there like any kind of core group there, or are you kind of more
Yeah.
you
Yeah, we've got a good little group of people, and we get along or get together every now and then, have art nights.
Oh, good.
I was hosting an art jam at one of the local bars for a while, and it was pretty cool. Um, and then it just kind of fizzled out. Everybody had other things to do, so we just kind of canceled it. But it
Yeah.
was fun while it lasted.
That's cool though. I mean, that's what this is how you do it, you know?
Yeah,
You could do this anywhere you live. Any artists out there, you got to build your, you know, if aside from your online presence, you got to build a physical presence and a peer group. It's
the
so
thing that helped
important.
me, the thing that helped me out in the beginning to get my name out there in a city that nobody knew me was I would contact restaurants and bars and ask if I could set up and do live painting
Mm,
and like a little pop-up gallery. And I wouldn't advertise it at all. I would just get like honest reactions out of people as soon as they turned around the corner, and it worked out pretty well.
that's cool. Yeah. You got to be resourceful in that way.
Yeah,
It's like Gabe Leonard always talks about taking his art to the Venice boardwalk.
yeah,
You know, it's like that's one thing he always says. It's like if you have your artwork, you have to get it out.
yeah,
You can go set up on a street corner. You know, you have to get it out in front of people.
yeah. I've sold more original paintings in a dive bar than I have in any gallery show.
Really? Yeah, that's the
Like
thing.
you never really understand or never really know where somebody's going to be that just connects with a piece you did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You got to be willing to do that. I mean, when I was first starting, I was showing everywhere, anywhere. There's still a place that has one of my paintings. I never got back. Such a bummer. Some cafe,
Oh shit.
Northern California. But yeah, this is what you got to do. Um, yeah, especially you know, I don't know. I think it's important to it's cool to have an online peer group, which
Yeah.
is really important nowadays. But I think if you have that physical, especially for I don't know, if you can get a scene going in your town somehow, it's really important. Like Dan Manhands, Dan Kelly.
Yeah.
You know, he's got that. He had that gallery. I'm not sure if he's still doing it, but he had that gallery in Maine, and way out in the middle of in I forget the name of the city, but in Maine, and he was selling artwork at his gallery, dark art
That's all. Yeah.
in some small town in Maine, and it was because he had like built a network of people that were into tattoos and into dark art, and people would drive in from other cities to come to his shows, and I was shocked at how much work he was selling at those things. It was crazy. So you can you can find your people anywhere,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. People like us, like we're always looking for signs that there's other like us out there.
Signs of life.
Yeah. We're like, oh, you're cool. I saw that sticker on your car. I'm going to follow you.
That's all.
That's not.
Yeah, that's all it takes is 2 or 3 people to start something like that, you know, to get the ball rolling. And it's like there's more people than you know. You know, even people into the weird stuff and the occult stuff. It's like, you know, they don't advertise it, but they're out there. You can you have secret. You buy the clothing, your T-shirts and tattoos. Like you can recognize each other like a.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's nods.
Yes. Like a secret society. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do for next year. I still got like, I took this year off to get all these commissions done, and I think I probably got only half of them done. I'm still in my head, I'm still like, there's a week of the year left. Somehow I can get all these paintings done, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's no way. So it's going to bleed into next year like it always does. And then I have a solo show at Copro, and so I got to figure that out. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. Want to try and do better than the last one, like have a bigger, cooler show, but I don't even have the concept yet.
Yeah.
How do you approach a solo show when your solo shows? Were you just kind of painting whatever, or because it's like there's, you can pick a theme, or you just like do a bunch of paintings, which I've done both of, and both seem to be okay.
Where one had a theme. It was all blacklight artwork. Black
that
light
didn't
reactive
sell. That's
not.
That seems like, see, that kind of thing. If you get it in front of the right crowd, would sell out. Because some people are so into that.
The gallery space was really awesome, and we were going to switch out the gallery lights for black lights so that they could dim them back and forth.
Oh, that would.
The lights were too far away to have any effect on the paintings.
Oh man!
So I dimmed the gallery lights and passed out little black light flashlights.
Oh, that's cool.
It got great reception, but no pieces sold from it.
Huh.
But then the other show was just like, I have all these paintings in my house. I need to get them out and put them somewhere. This is my solo show.
Yeah, I've done those before too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and do a little bit of traveling this year. Without having my dog and a little bit of free time for myself, I'm going to maybe make a couple road trips and drop some free art along the way, and just see what's out there, really.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
I really haven't traveled much at all in my entire life. I've been in Kentucky.
Yeah, you should, man. I love road trips. They're fun. You should make a road trip out to LA.
Oh, fuck yeah. Pack up the Kia Soul.
You got a Kia Soul?
Fuck yeah.
I got a Kia Soul. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think you told me that when I bought one a few years ago. Yeah.
It's me and you, and Patrick Ty has a Kia Soul also.
What color is yours?
What?
What color is yours?
It's that space gray, or I don't know, what is it? They call it, I forget what they call it. Not space gray. That's the Mac stuff. It's like a charcoal, sparkly charcoal.
I had to go for the super black Soul.
Yeah.
Anytime I see a white Kia Soul on the road, I'm like, my nemesis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like black Soul. How can you go wrong there? I love that car. So nice. Yeah, I mean, it's like a cheap car or an inexpensive car, but it's such a great car. I love it. I really researched cars to get the most for your buck, and it was a Kia Soul. Yeah, you should come out. You should try and make a trip out to LA, because see all these galleries out here and connect with them.
Yeah, definitely that way.
Bring some artwork.
Fuck yeah. Those Souls can pack a lot of shit in them.
I know. They're great cars, let me tell you. Yeah, you can pack a lot of stuff. The seats go down. Yeah, I love it. Well, I don't know. I guess we should give what's a message of hope for the people listening to this podcast, that we can send them off into the beginning of what's going to probably be an insane year next year.
Message of hope. No matter what you're facing and going through, it will get better. It will. And if it's good, it's probably not going to be very good for very long. So Hold on to the hope that it will get better.
Yes.
And you're not alone. You're not the only person going through these things. And that's what's helped me get through so many things, is finding out that as alone as I felt, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why, that's the time that during those bad times it's when you it's it's what the community is all about for those bad times, really. It's mostly so you can lean on your friends and get support from your friends during the bad times. Of course, helping others during the good times, things like that is great too. But it's important to reach out to your core people when things are rough. And yeah, everybody's going through it. Everybody's going through it on some level. So yeah, you're definitely not alone.
And try not to take other people's bad moods personally, because most of the time it really doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, true. I'm sure you get that a lot with your positive posts. It's hard though. It's hard to even because like on an intellectual level, you're like, oh, that person's probably having a terrible day. That person's probably miserable, but it still hits you in that like emotional place where you just like, oh, what an asshole. You want to like lash back out and hurt them verbally, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I would agree. I would also say, if you know any old people, if you're going through it and you know any old people, ask them about times they've been through. Because I guarantee you,
right,
all the old people. Because it's like, now that I'm an old person, that's why I feel like I can really have some authority on saying that these bad times won't last, because I've been through so many of them, and it's like I feel like at this advanced age, I can definitely see a pattern. There is a pattern to life, and it's like the bad times will only last. They won't last. The bad times will not last. So if there's anything to take away from this, is that no matter how fucked up things are, they won't last. They won't last. Things are going to get better. It's just the natural order of things. You can't even change that if you wanted to. It's like you can't stop it from getting better. It's going to get better no matter what.
Yeah.
So
no matter how powerless you feel, you are strong enough to get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. You may not know that or believe it, but it's true. Well, I guess that's it.
Thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing this. I know it's painful and hard for you. But
yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. And that's okay to say that. It's okay to admit that. It sucks. You're still kind of getting through it, but it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It will get better. And then it'll get worse again. It'll suck again.
It'll get worse.
And then it'll get better again.
Don't worry about these bad times. Worse times are coming.
Yeah, wait until next year. Wait until the election year. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out. We just have, what we have to do. We just have to say goodbye to the listening audience.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Goodbye, listening audience. I appreciate you all.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening this year. And hope everyone has a great 2024. It's going to be crazy, but as long as we all stick together, we're going to make it.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Bye, everybody.